Hello and welcome back to OT the podcast. We're here to talk about watches, time, and how to spend it. My name is Andy Green, and with me is
Philly Schultz. Andy, we're not just talking about watches in general today. We're being very specific. We've narrowed our focus down to two brands and a whole bunch of new watches. Of course, we're talking about the latest Rolex releases and the latest Tudor releases, fresh from Watches and Wonders 2021. First up, Andy, how have you found Watches and Wonders 2021?
hectic. So these releases are all under 24 hours old at the time of recording, and I think when we go live, it's going to be just
72.
They're still going to be pretty fresh.
Yeah.
How have I found Watches and Wonders? Honestly, pretty hectic. I did stress out yesterday when I was kind of hopped on to kind of see when all my appointments were, and I couldn't see any of them. I couldn't get in. It's pretty stressful, especially given the time zone that we have. So for all you international listeners, just really appreciate how much effort goes into making these appointments on Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Look, for me, I very much can echo the frustrations of the technical platform. It's the first year they've done something on this scale. There's sure to be teething problems. It still irritates me. So I'm sorry if you're in the IT program management at Watches and Wonders Geneva. It's your fault.
And we hope we didn't just get someone fired. No, I don't think so. Look, I think it's been interesting because a lot of the presentations have been like short, sharp, punchy. There's not like the mature age students at the back of the room asking questions when you're there. Obviously, we didn't have to travel like 28 hours to go and attend this in person.
But I mean, for me, I've reflected. I've had a few chats to sort of, local brand people and obviously you, Andy, and other people. But I am very much enjoying the slower pace from the on the ground experience. It also helps that I'm kind of a bit more freelance, I guess. A little. I'm not like full time crunching out the press releases, so I can take it a bit slower. But, it's meant I've been able to focus on some of those new releases and sort of dig in a bit deeper and not just, grinding away on the press release train, which I'm into.
Yeah, and I guess the beauty of it for us on the flip side is that we kind of have, the daytime to kind of digest things and go through it, and that's exactly what happened today.
Whatever it is, yep.
Before we get into that, Felix, we should just take a quick break for our sponsor, and then we'll come right back into our takes on the new releases.
Damn, fresh Rolex, y'all.
Today's episode of OT the Podcast is brought to you by WatchBox.
WatchBox is the world's leading platform for the buying, selling, and trading of pre-owned luxury watches, fueled by technology, innovation, and unmatched global experience in the high-end watch market.
Hey, Felix, did you know that WatchBox own every watch that they sell?
Nice.
Yeah, it means they're not really a marketplace per se, and it means that they can implement universal standards across their global presence. They're also one of the largest buyers of pre-owned watches worldwide, meaning the selection on offer is amazing and ever-changing. Head over to their online store, thewatchbox.com, to discover the many hundreds. In fact, I just checked and there's thousands listed for sale, with so many more in inventory. WatchBox have all the hot stock with brands like Rolex, AP, Patek Philippe. But that's not it. There's also a killer mix of truly special independent brands. You don't see them everywhere. Think FP Journe, Lange, Grubel Forsey, even Richard Mille. They really have it all. There's also a lot of fun in the 100K, plus category. But regardless, there's always something new to discover.
Anything catch your eye, Andy?
Well, now that you mention it, there is an Everose Rolex GMT Master 2, Saru. That is really speaking to me. I'll drop a link in the show notes in case anyone's feeling generous.
Look, please do. Don't bother putting in the show notes. I'll just buy it for you.
Don't buy it all at once.
For our international listeners who want that in-store experience, WatchBox have a handful of salons in the USA, UAE, Singapore, Hong Kong, and naturally Switzerland. To check out their unmatched global inventory, head to thewatchbox.com. You'll literally be blown away. And when shopping at thewatchbox.com, you can enjoy guaranteed authenticity, 2 years warranty, and free express global shipping.
And while you're at it, why not join the WatchBox community? On top of being one of the world's largest dedicated luxury marketplaces for watches, they are also very serious when it comes to content. Community is front of what they do. Felix and I can personally speak to the fun of Tim Mosso's Facebook group, for example, or subscribing to WatchBox Studios on YouTube, which has some ridiculously good content. From Tim Mosso to Mike Manjos, WatchBox has enthusiasts at the core of their business. They've written some fantastic content on the website, things like historical pieces, really handy buying guides, and of course, industry news.
So whether you're in the market for a new watch, looking to sell, or even trade, hit up WatchBox today at thewatchbox.com. Buy world-class timepieces with confidence and convenience.
Now let's get back to the show. Giddy up, Felix. Well, the first release that we really need to talk about, we'll talk about Rolex, obviously, given that both brands kind of fall under that company. But Rolex had a bit of a bit of a trickster this year with a red herring in the way of Explorer 2 and the Explorer updates. So what we have, I'll run through these. You can run through through the next ones.
Oh,
but
thanks.
no worries. But basically, three new Rolex Explorers. So we have the unmissable two-tone 36mm Explorer
Yeah.
in oyster steel and yellow gold. We have a all-steel Explorer in 36. We now no longer have a 39mm Explorer, or I think any current catalog Rolex in 39mm.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the Explorer 2, which has sort of been updated. So the starting place is the two-tone oyster steel and yellow gold. What do you think?
Yeah, I think before we dig into the models, Andy, what's your sort of top line, executive summary of Rolex 2021 collection?
Okay.
Give me a sentence.
Very, very Rolex. So subtle changes across, several significant categories, upgrades where they needed them, nothing too revolutionary, and some pretty quiet sort of novelties that aren't in the catalog but have been kind of announced.
Yep.
And of course, in classic Rolex fashion, they kind of make you look left for the weeks leading up to a release, and then they, hit you with a right hook.
Right. I'd agree. I think people have been saying that it's a bit boring, and there's sort of that sense of disappointment, and
Every year.
it's only this, it's only that. What do you guys expect at this point from Rolex? This is what they do. They're not pretending to do anything different. They're not going to come out with a tourbillon.
No.
They're going to do an incremental update that you're going to eventually go, actually, this is really great.
Exactly. And it's like they're doing what they said they were going to do, years ago now, when they kind of said, look, we're going to go back to the more consolidated and kind of traditional approach to their collections and the clear distinctions between them. Like the new bracelets on the GMT Master too. That's something that they used to offer, and now they're offering it again. So look, we'll get into that. But I think it's very Rolex, and it's like they never let you know what they're actually going to do. They're very good at keeping secrets. They do their teasers. They make everyone get really, really excited. Oh, it's going to be a ceramic Explorer 2. Is it going to be 40mm? Is it going to get a new movement? Rah, rah, rah. Pretty minimal changes on that front. All right.
So
Can we talk about the
through
two-tone?
Yeah.
All right. So two-tone Explorer, 36mm, as I said, oyster steel, yellow gold. Brand new model, 15,250 Aussie dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that beautiful steel, that beautiful 369 dial with sort of with the gold markers and hands to match the bezel and the center links on the bracelet and the crown, which is gold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's really cool. I think it is. I mean, I'm a sucker for this 36mm. I think there's just something really quirky about it. It's in this weird halfway point between, obviously, full gold, which would never happen for an Explorer, and steel. It's quirky. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm into it as well. And I think it's really quite smart positioning, because I think a lot of people want a bit of bling from Rolex, and they want, but they also want that, that professional feel. And this is really a nice middle ground. A lot of people have been drawing comparisons to the two-tone Sea Dweller, I think from last year. But this is, to me, a very, very different beast. This wears well on the wrist. This is much more. It's basically a Datejust with a professional.
You know what?
vibe.
I had that conversation today.
Yeah.
Someone was like, "Oh, I really don't like it. I don't understand it. It's just so different. So why would you do this watch?" And I'm like, "Dude, honestly, 98% of people are going to see that from a distance and think that it is a two-tone, smooth bezel Datejust, and then they'll go up and they'll say, "Oh, it's got a 369 dial. That's kind of cool." That's really all that the difference is.
I don't think you need to get so up in arms about it. It's Rolex, alongside subs and Explorers and professionally, what they're far more well known for is two-tone and Datejusts.
Exactly.
So I think have we confirmed that this will be a banger, and this is great.
I think this is pretty great.
Right,
I think it's
debate is done.
That's gonna look really cool. It's gonna look really cool when it's
the gold on black will be cool.
Yeah, it's a move. I'm really into it. Okay, so the next Explorer was the 36, so it's back in the collection.
Yep.
Goodbye 39, no longer exists in the Rolex catalog. Love it again. Everything there is to love about a Explorer in this watch. It's priced at 9,000 Aussie dollars, so
still, I mean, it's a time-only watch, but let's
about
say
right.
well priced.
Yep. It's for Rolex.
Got that new caliber in it, so 70-hour power reserve, which
Yep.
is also awesome. So that's the 3230. Yeah,
Not
updated
much more to
loom.
say, really, is there? Like,
Honestly, it's just such
slightly
a good
tweaked
watch.
case and slightly tweaked bezel. Sorry, not bezel, bracelet, I mean.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like $2,000 more than when it last existed, but
Mm.
that's the way that expensive things go. They get more expensive every year.
Yep.
And then the Explorer 2, Felix, no ceramic bezel.
Thank fuck.
You really like it as is. You're
Yeah,
really
I
happy
think.
about this.
Look, we were chatting a bit before, when it sort
Uh,
of came out, obviously on the WhatsApp. People are like, they're expecting ceramic, they're expecting this, they're expecting, bells and whistles. Why? Like, you
yeah.
do that, but then if you see what what they complain about Rolex is like, oh, this isn't as good as the old version. Then don't update the old version beyond the technical updates that mean a better movement. This is what
Yeah.
they've done. Personally, I don't love the 42 millimeter case, but that seems to be, the size that Rolex is playing at, 40, 41, 42 for their
Mm.
professional models. It makes sense. They don't need to add a ceramic bezel. I don't think it'll look good.
Well, what is new, Felix? Because there's a handful of new features.
There's a new movement. That's the main
Mm-hmm.
one. That's the 3285, which is
Yes.
the one they did in 2018. 70 hours power reserve, which is great. There is slightly redesigned case, slightly
Mm-hmm.
redesigned bracelet, and better loom. And is it the black loom plots?
The surrounds.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And the black coating on the hand, I think, is
Incremental, and that's fine. I mean, that's what I want in a watch. I don't want the baby thrown out with the bathwater.
no one wants a baby thrown out with the bathwater.
That's a bad thing. Do you mind if I talk about the next hot
Please.
releases? The spicy,
away.
the tropical, the desert. Datejust 36.
Oh,
Two.
what's happened here?
They've released some new dials, some
Mhm.
new funky dials. There is an olive green palm motif.
Uh-huh.
And there is I don't know what the other one is. What you call it? It's like a sort of a hexagonal fluted. I don't know, sort of like squished honeycomb pattern.
Do you know what Rolex called the palm dial?
What?
Lush vegetation.
Oof, mate.
So lush.
You know what I call lush vegetation?
I don't know if I want to know.
No, fair enough. Do you know what they call the other one? Or do they call that, dusky
just
sands?
fluted motif.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's less evocative, isn't it? So there's a whole bunch of variations
Mhm.
on this. Like there's, different.
6 in total.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about all of them. We're going to talk about the ones that are in the press release. Steel with the green dial, smooth bezel, 9,990 Australian dollars, which is, again, good price. You pay a little bit more for that fancy dial.
Quick
Mhm.
one on that dial. That dial's available it is available in 3 different colors. So there's the golden and the silver, and as well as the green that we're talking about now. And that's the
Cool.
same for the fluted motif, except it comes in, I think it's bright blue and silver.
Yep.
So that palm dial, if you're like, oh, the green's a bit much for me, there's a sort of more muted options there.
And I think these are, and the other one, sorry, yellow gold Rolesor Jubilee bracelet. You're looking at 16,450 Aussie.
Yep.
I think these are fine. Like these, Rolex has always done funky dials. Like some of them age well, some of them don't. Some of them go in and out of fashion. I'm sure there's going to be a time when that Rolex repeated one will be
Like
super
the
hot.
butterfly one.
Yeah, like it's what they do.
Okay.
I'm not wild about these on any level, but they're fine. Yeah.
Well, speaking speaking of quirky dials, Felix, the green is cool, and I think that's going to be one that's sort of look, I mean, 10 grand, but people have shown through the love for the OPs released last year that they'll spend around that on
Simple.
more fun, vibrant options from Rolex. So, like, these will sell. These will sell really well. Speaking of quirky dials, the Daytona also got some new dials added to the range, and I'm going to say it, Felix, they're out of this world. Precious metals. So three different Daytonas come with the meteorite dial. Obviously, Everose, yellow gold, and white gold. So the white gold's on Oyster Flex, and the other two, Everose and the yellow, come on full bracelet. for me, the full bracelet is stunning, like stunning in the press pics. I really hope, and I think we're going to see these next week, that they have these novelties there. They're going to be gorgeous in the sunlight. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, so meteorite dial, black subdials, the how do I say it? Wittgenstein pattern that is characteristics of meteorites formed over thousands of years by the slow cooling of the iron nickel alloy in the sub-zero temperatures of space. Etched with acid to bring out the striking geometry. How do you like that? Do you reckon I've written about a meteorite dial before?
You love just flexing the old pattern.
Put your Vit and your Man and your Staten together. The pricing on these, $48.50 for the white gold on Oyster Flex, $57,850 for the yellow gold, $61,750 for rose gold / Ever Rose. Why is Ever Rose more, Andy? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, the precious metals are all sort of slightly priced differently. I think on a full bracelet, it would be even more in white gold, and then obviously platinum's more.
Yeah, no, I figure, but like the yellow gold and the Ever Rose, there's a bit of a jump there. Is it just because there's a bit more?
I think rose gold is more
something?
expensive. No, I just think rose gold is more expensive. It probably costs more. Actually, no, there's less gold. I don't know. Rolex things. Let's not try and understand it. So those are the meteorite dials, but there were some dial updates to the Daytona, to the Datejusts, and to, excitingly, the day dates. So the Daytona, there's 4 new dial updates.
Talk to me.
What? Okay, so it's a little bit hard to know how they're different because this is pretty subtle. But basically, we're looking at 2 diamond set dials that are sort of, and these are available for specific models as well. So probably the best way to do it is to get on the configurator and have a look for yourself if you really want to understand here. But Sundust is a big player here, and Black Lacquer. So they're the sort of, there's 2 of each. I don't think I've seen this before. A Sundust style.
Champagne, I'd call it. I'd call that a champagne dial.
Champagne with baguettes. I don't think they've done baguettes before. And matching subdials. So there's no sort of contrast there. Just completely like washed out with the sunburst or, whatever you want to call it. And then the sort of subdials match on the black dials so the Rolesor has gold subdials and the Everrose has sort of, I don't know, Everrose subdials, which looks pretty cool. And that's so they're, available only on the Everrose. Look, see them in a watch, see for yourself. These dials are always going to look good in Daytonas in precious metal. What excites me probably a little bit more is the Datejusts and the day dates. So
you frothed over one of these in particular.
Yeah, and I can't pronounce it. So while I work that out, but the sort of Wimbledon dial that came in the Datejust is now available in Datejust 36. That sort of slate grey with baguettes in 36. Oh, sorry, no baguettes with matching 9 o'clock marker to the material. So if you again go the Everrose Rolesor version, you get an Everrose sort of little marker at 9. People that know that dial well know that it's sort of the green Romans, and then there's only one sort of loomed up marker. So that's new. Some of the day dates have been cleaned up a little bit, in particular the platinum. So still ice blue, but it's just got a sort of different, it's just blanked out. So there's no sort of texture to it or quadrants. I think it had quadrants. Same for the...
it had that sort of weird... like it felt like they had been doing what plasterers do, where they do different patterns in different directions. So
I think they call it quadrants or something. Okay. Same for the slate grey or kind of glossy grey one, and then this new dial.
Now I've pulled up the name and I want to try and pronounce it, Andy.
Is it Eisenkiesel?
I would have said Eisenkiesel. It sounds like an Austrian cake. I'll have a slice of the Eisenkiesel with cream, thank you.
So this is a piece of Eisenkiesel, which has its inclusions or embellishments, which they kind of carefully select. In the 36, it's got sort of I don't know, what do you call those markers? They're sort of, I don't know, Romans.
They're applied Romans at the applied battens and Romans set with brilliant diamonds.
Yep, and then baguettes for the 40 millimeter.
Baguettes, baby.
So describe this dial to me.
It's Eisenkiesel. What more do you need to say?
So it's like a brown.
It's like a quartz. It's a quartz semi-precious stone, as far as I understand it, and it's sort of. It looks like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that's like a hectic spider dial.
Yeah, or like fire, kind of like I see fire when I look at it.
Fire emojis.
Absolutely. But that comes in the day date, and it's only in ever rose gold, that dial.
Interesting.
So stunning.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was a cheeky one.
Yeah, nice little.
What is next?
Let me go on. What is
Scroll
next?
down.
Oh, how could we forget Andy? Felix's possible favourite of the Rolex releases. Everyone will be unsurprised. New Day-Date 36s.
Yeah, right. Well, these aren't in the catalogue. These are novelties, I guess you would call them.
It was in the presentation though. The orange
Yeah.
one was.
Yeah.
Let me paint you a picture here. 36 millimeters, yellow gold, fully set, leather strap.
Yep.
Not just any leather strap. The leather strap matches the color of the applied markers. On the highlight, the sort of the halo marketing piece we're talking about, freaking orange, neon orange, like, I don't know.
Do you know what I think of when I look at this?
Please tell me, because I'd say something rude.
Elton John needs this watch.
Yeah, okay. I thought of someone else famous in orange when I initially saw it. But I think
I
it's
just
hot.
see Elton John. He needs this.
Yeah, it's a hot watch. I mean, and again, the bezel is brilliant set, not baguettes. And there's versions, Andy. Tell me about the versions.
Okay, so you've talked about the sort of orange boy, yellow gold, full orange theme to it. There is also white gold and ever rose. So the white gold has a bit more of like a blue style to it. Call it turquoise strap. So I guess you'd call it sort of turquoise enamel fill in the Romans. That's the other cool thing is that there's enamel fill, which I don't think we've seen in ages on a modern Rolex. But these are enamel filled
very poppy.
Yeah, they pop. So the enamel fill matches the strap on all of these. So there's the white gold, 18 karat, obviously, and then there is Everrose, which is more burgundy. So again, burgundy enamel fill and a burgundy croc strap. Yeah, well, it's just icy. They've got like 450 diamonds or something silly, like a lot. Yeah, just on the dial alone, there's 450 diamonds. So there you go. The case has probably got like another 200 or so. Very, very drippy.
It is not the silliest when it comes to diamond setting, though. There is sillier.
No. Talk to me.
One of the other sort of special pieces is something that I'm sure a lot of people are very excited about, a Lady Datejust. It's a 28 millimeter watch. There's a version in yellow gold and a version in white gold. It's hard to see the gold, though, because there's so many diamonds. So many diamonds all over it.
But do you know what makes it easier to see? The PVD filled markers.
True.
Which is new.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart decision. But I haven't quite finished talking about the diamonds, Andy.
Okay, keep going.
There's, I think, over 1,000, like it's 1,029. There is 44 on the bezel, 291 on the dial, 596 on the Jubilee bracelet, and the case has 158.
It's quite a few.
I can't do the maths on the fly, and we didn't write down the total number, but that's a lot of diamonds, Andy.
For a 28 millimeter watch, that is a lot of diamonds. Okay, someone add this up: 158 plus 44 plus 291 plus
You're the accountant.
596. Someone in the comments will help us out.
Yeah, just ot@podcast on Instagram. Just send us numbers.
Let us know.
Just comment with numbers.
Oh boy, that again. These markers. There's a macro shot of these markers. So cool. It's just like a modern. Yeah, it just looks really, really cool against the diamonds.
Yeah, absolutely. And are there any more diamond set wonders to be found in the depths of Rolex's 2021 new releases?
Well, there's the same deal in white gold. Let's not forget it.
Yeah, no, I mentioned that. We talked about it already,
boatload.
Andy. Gosh.
Boatload. So that's novelties. What else do they do?
Yeah.
Well, they've done a couple more not in catalogue.
Yeah, those sneaky gem sets. We've got to talk about this. That's because they will make like 10 of these a year or something stupid, yeah?
Yeah, it's probably like 100 or something.
Yeah, so a market might get one. So what's the point putting it in the catalogue because they'll already be sold.
Two will come to Australia.
Yeah.
So what have they done? They've done the Yacht Master 42, reference 226679 TBR. So it's the Oyster Flex white gold 42 millimeter with a fully diamond set case.
Sure.
And
there's another version.
Then they've done the same guy, but with a diamond dial.
Yeah. Which one would you pick? So there's a diamond case with black dial, or the full pavé with like a silvery white dial.
I think if you're going to go that hard, you kind of have to get the diamond dial as well.
Okay. You don't want to go for the subtle, just gem set case.
Nah, you may as well get the diamond dial.
What
You've seen a diamond dial in person.
Sure.
It's just stunning. It's like you may as well just enjoy.
What I really love about these, and people sort of occasionally knock the gem set sports Rolex. I love the setting of the stones on the bezel because they are like still a bezel insert, like they're sort of trapezoidal baguettes. I guess they still are with a triangle at 12. I think it's nice. Other diamond updates. Daytonas that were released last year, or no, the year before, with that sort of tigery pattern on the dial, or the one that looks like an ink blot test. They've got 2 new versions there, white gold on Oyster Flex with diamonds and yellow gold with diamonds on the case, and centerlinks of the bracelet, which is something I haven't really seen before on a sporty watch like that.
Yeah, the rainbow had had a similar bracelet setting.
Option.
I mean, people love these, and you can't get them anyway. But do you know what I see when I look at those dials?
Like what you visually see? I see a tiger.
Yeah. Hey, like a Rorschach test.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what do you see? Everyone sees something different. As like, are you a psychopath or not?
No, you've just got a very nice Rolex.
I see money. I see someone who
see green
money.
Andy, and you were quite interested in this last incremental update that sort of has got people up in arms.
They've been chatting about this. So the GMT Master 2 range, which in steel, and the Sky Dweller range in steel, both got a little bit of extra action in terms of bracelets. So at the moment, until 9:00 yesterday, your BLNR and your Pepsi, so your Batman and your Pepsi, only came on Jubilee bracelets. Now you can get a revised Oyster, bracelet for them both.
Nice.
Same deal for the Sky Dweller. So there's a 2-tone and there's a steel. People are pretty fired up about this.
Yeah. My question for you is, what does this do about my investment?
That's a really interesting question. I don't really know. I mean, if you have the hot new thing, which is going to be in this case the Oyster bracelet comes back on,
is it hot, or is it an updated Oyster?
Yeah, it will be updated because the case was updated. With the bracelet. Yeah. So, I mean, the interesting thing for the Pepsi is they didn't do a Pepsi on Oyster because that was sort of reserved for the white gold, which we don't.
That will be hot, won't it?
Have anymore. It's a meteorite. Not even know if they make those. They kind of say they do, but you rarely see them. So the fact that it's back, but you kind of, when the GMT Master was first sort of released, and until like the 90s, you could kind of choose the bracelet that you got. So
yeah.
Obviously, it's a little bit harder to go and choose any Rolex that you want, but in theory, you might say I like the Oyster better, so I'm going to hang out for the Oyster. Will this increase production? Maybe. It might even drive prices down if production goes up, double. For the Sky Dweller, I find it a little bit more interesting and more of a kind of fascinating talking point because that is a bit of a bigger, heavier watch, and I'd be interested to see how that kind of the dynamic of that works. Is it going to be top heavy? Is it going to be okay? It's probably going to be fine because it's Rolex we're talking about here.
Hey, I don't know. It might be too early to tell, but say you've got as you've got the Batman on Jubilee. Can you now buy an Oyster bracelet?
I mean,
alone?
I've been asked this today. You can't. There's potential that like you go and take it in for a service,
and swap it,
and they say, oh, you need to replace the bracelet, and they give you the choice. I don't think they've thought about it at that point. I don't see why they wouldn't, because they'd make money selling you the bracelet there. There's also potential that your authorized dealer would order one in as a spare part, but even that's not
kosher necessarily.
Common. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I guess they don't want extra legit spare parts floating around. Or
I mean, no, if you take it for service and
they'll take the other
for a bracelet replacement, it's like any other part. You don't get to keep it.
Yeah.
So
but in terms, you're not going to be able to have both.
No, you're not going to take both and be able to swap. No.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, so I think what we've worked out here is initially Rolex looked like a pretty light sort of offering, from the top line of, you get some new Explorers, there's some new variations, but once you go through all the options, there's a heap. Like
heaps.
Like that's dozens. A lot of SKUs that
dozens
would be there.
100%. What's your pick of the Rolex bunch?
I think I've got to say stay true to my bedazzled heart and go with that 36mm orange.
The Elton John.
Yeah, the Elton. Let's
The Elton.
let's claim the nickname now. But
Yeah, on the
also, I mean,
record.
that's the silly cool one. I quite like Explorers. I like the two-tone. I like that it's yellow gold. I like
Me
that it's
too.
not Everose. I think that's the classy play. But I think a lot of people are going to be happy that the Explorer's back in 36, and I think that's the real hero.
I think it is the unsung hero. I really like the two-tone.
Yeah.
I could see myself wearing
Would
that
you
one.
wear it if you?
Yeah, for sure.
Would you buy it over steel, or would you buy it over a two-tone Datejust?
Yeah, if I was going to buy a two-tone Datejust, I would get that instead.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, like there's probably a lot of people that put on a two-tone Submariner or GMT and say this is a bit too big.
Yep.
I wish there was something sporty that I could wear that was in two-tone, and this is probably who it's for.
Bingo, bango. And I don't think like people are saying, oh, there was no special 50th anniversary piece. I think a two-tone Explorer is kind of cool. Like
Yeah,
that's a pretty,
cool.
Celebratory thing to do.
And what did they do for the Sea Dwellers anniversary as well? It was a similar thing, right?
Was that the different? Was that the different dial or was that the two-tone?
Yeah, they did two-tone as well at one point.
Who knows? So we're not here just to talk about Rolex, Andy. We're here to talk about Tudor as well.
Yeah.
What is your overall impression?
Tudor had a party this year. I think Rolex really hit it out of the park in terms of doing what Rolex do. Tudor just, I'm here for it, but it feels very rogue.
Does it? You go on. I've got thoughts.
Okay, Tudor's always been the younger brother company or younger sister company or younger whatever company to kind of have a bit of fun and try things and do all that. But I feel like they've kind of two of their big releases, almost novelties, and I think that's rogue for Tudor because they haven't really done novelty watches before. I'm going to say that the first two we're talking about are novelties. They are not your bread and butter. They're not going to make a lot of these. They're going to be hard to get.
Yep.
They'll probably have decent premiums attached to them just because they're not easy to get.
Yep.
But I mean, the first one is a Black Bay 58 in 18 karat gold. Do you know how many times I googled that last night trying to work out, was it capped? Is it actually solid gold?
Well, you should have just looked at the price.
Yeah, I looked at the price. I go, okay, that makes sense.
So my take on this is a little bit different. Before we go into the gold, the gold boy, I think yes, Tudor's doing something different. So when did Tudor really start getting on people's radars again? About 10 years ago, about 2009, 2010 was the release of the Black Bay.
Yep.
What I think we're seeing here is the evolution of the brand and the evolution, more importantly, of the consumer. So they've spent the good part of the last 10 years really selling to that core audience that goes nuts over the new variations, the new the new dial configurations, the new complications, the new sizes, all that stuff. This is something for them. This is something for people that love the brand, and it's a way for Tudor to keep them in-house and keep them engaged at the risk of them going off and finding else because they're getting Black Bay fatigue.
I love the brand, but I'm not spending 22.
So I think there's people out there that will.
Yeah,
I think this is the equivalent of a gem set.
It's a novelty.
Rolex.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this is like their novelty. And I think hopefully we see more of this like novelty stuff.
But I think I agree with you. But I think the reason they're doing it is because they're maturing and they're getting to a point where they have the customer base to do this, and they don't just have to pump out entry level Tudors and be seen as the cheap alternative to a Submariner.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, being a massive Tudor fan, don't get me wrong. The amount of times I've thought to myself, especially having owned the Black Bay 58, owned a Black Bay. Imagine if they did a Black Bay 58 in solid gold. How good would that be? Like, I've asked for this in my dreams.
And what do you think?
Well, I mean, the reason I asked that was because the price of full gold's, or price of a full gold Submariner is like 50K. And comparatively, Tudor is about half the price or a third of the price of a Rolex. So you go, well, if Tudor did it, it might be something I could actually afford without selling, half my watches or whatever.
Well, you want to know how much it is?
Yeah, tell me.
It's $22,880 on a leather strap with a fabric strap.
And tell you what, if they did this on full bracelet, probably about 30 grand.
Yep.
And that's when I would start to say, because I want it on bracelet.
Yep.
I'm gonna seriously consider this. So it's got a green dial and bezel with the 18 karat gold.
Yellow
case,
gold. Again, yellow gold. Great play.
and
I like that they're not messing
not
around
like
with.
a Rolex gold or
Yep.
anything like that. Not named. It's just 18 karat, which was what confused me. So it's sort of that Harrods edition, I should say, with gold.
Yep.
So green and gold is iconic.
Still
in
aluminium
terms
inserts, which I think is something that's underrated for people that love that older style sub as well. Like,
and my big takeaway here is, like you kind of said before, I think this is a really competitive year for Tudor in terms of market positioning, pricing, quality, and product. And I think this is a really strong place to start because even if you put this watch as a standalone, in-house movement, 39 millimeters, not 40, not 41, not 42, still water resistant to 200 meters, COSC certified, 18 karat gold. Yes, it's on a strap, comes with a NATO. You're going to really struggle to find a well-made watch
to compete
with that. Like
Omega.
Omega's
got to be
what's
more,
an Omega
isn't it?
cost? Yeah. Oh, you betcha. What's
no, the Seamaster 300 in bronze gold, which is a lot less gold, but a similar look. That's I think it's like 15K, maybe.
We talked about it. Let me pull it up real quick.
It's competitive. Let's say that. Maybe it's 18.
I think it's more. Felix, I think. Yeah, I'm clicking watch details. We're going to reveal the price. You're talking about the 41.
Yep, the Seamaster 300 bronze gold. Drum roll.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 1765.
Oh, how good am I?
Yeah, you're good. Again, but it's not. It's 60% gold. So and it's 9 karat bronze gold. So it's
it's less impressive.
Less impressive, right? So, and they didn't know this was obviously going to come out, and I think that it's still better. Like, how do they know?
They definitely know.
They didn't know. They don't know what they're doing. But I mean, if you compare it to 18 karat gold,
pub.
They're just mates, are they?
I reckon that they would know like what their competitors are releasing. I have a pretty good idea.
They have spies?
Yeah. Anyway, that's off the topic. Let's talk about the next.
It is the topic. I only say it because, okay, if you compare it to the full gold Seamaster, again, this is where it gets interesting because I think this sets the tone for what they're doing and for their other releases, that go beyond the Black Bay. But if you look at the Seamaster coaxial, in Sedna gold, I'm hitting and reveal the price. You know what it is?
On rubber or something? It's like 25?
On leather strap, $30,700.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Tudor have just taken all those guys. This, to me, this whole release feels very like, there used to be a point where it was Rolex and Omega. Now it's like Tudor just come along and just, ripping the
look, I still think there's differences to be had.
Fighting words, but I'll say it.
Yeah.
What's next?
My favorite Tudor release of the year, the BB58925 with a silver case, a sterling silver case, which is something you don't see a lot. They used to do them like in the 30s and 40s, but you don't see many silver cases now because they tarnish. Like bronze, they will oxidize and age over time. But I think now we're at a point where everyone's comfortable with that concept, and we're seeing a silver case. This is the first major brand I've seen to do a silver case.
I didn't even think this was real. I double took this as well. What is sterling silver? The price is with a torp dial, but the price is what?
5,880 Aussie. Can I just? I think this will be beautiful in the person. Torp is kind of a sexy word for mushroom. You know what I mean? Browny, mushroomy color. I think it will look really sophisticated, especially with silver, which is like steel, but it's brighter. It's a whiter color. I think
this is technically like a precious metal.
Semi-precious. I suppose.
Semi-precious. Silver's semi-precious. And the steel variant's like $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah, I think it's lovely, and I can't wait to see it in person. And yeah, this if I bought a Tudor, I think it would be this, and I think it's got a lot of unisex appeal. I think because of that, I would say this was a very, to borrow a phrase from one of our other guests recently, Karat, actually, a very fashion-forward looking watch.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and especially on the fabric strap with that sort of silver line through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not Tudor aren't done. They've come out with more impressive releases. Andy, tell us about the next duo.
Black Bay Chrono, redefined, thinner,
Yeah.
panda dial and a black dial.
Thinner,
Very
smoother, updated dial design. I mean, it's a phenomenal amount of watch.
and the price, seven grand on bracelet, 6,600 on
Fabric or leather.
fabric or bund.
It's great. I think the white dial's new. Is the white dial new?
Yeah, the panda's new.
It looks.
The world wasn't ready for the Black Bay Chrono when it first came out. It needed some work.
Yeah.
And they've worked on it.
I mean, here's a cheeky question for you. Would you get this or the Zenith Chronomaster Sport?
At double the price, you're getting this.
Well, you get two. You want
a cheeky question? You want a cheekier question?
Yeah.
You're going to do this or an Omega Speedmaster Auto with a racing dial for 30% more?
I'd probably go this. I've got another cheeky question for you, Andy.
Yeah.
Would you go this or a Daytona?
Oh, this is $11,000 less than a Daytona, Felix.
And you could probably get one
at retail.
You might have to wait a little bit. One.
This, and you beat it up and not, stress about it.
Oh, the resale. Oh, my house deposit.
This is so competitive.
Yeah,
this is really impressive.
Do you think you're very impressed by this? Would you say this is your best watch of Watches and Wonders so far?
Oh, look, I mean,
strongest
I really
value
like
proposition.
Sorry. Yeah, this to me, I think everything Tudor's done represents really good value, and it represents a brand that is really across the market, enthusiasts, every kind of segment, and knows how to price and package things up, which I like. And I love their releases because you can't really go wrong.
Hey,
right
before we go into the other ones, this could just be me, but I want to get your sort of sense check on this. I felt for the last few years, maybe before last year, that Tudor was a bit lost design-wise. Like that their releases weren't as compelling, like it was just iteration and iteration, but there wasn't any sort of that excitement that was there in, the early 2010s, I suppose.
I don't think you could maintain that early excitement.
Do you think this is capturing that again?
I think this is capturing it, and this is capturing it addresses so many gripes and grievances that people have.
Yeah.
It's a much more accessible brand. The 58, you couldn't really get it. You can get them. Like, it's not that hard to get them.
Yeah.
They never flew for crazy premiums. Like, they did it the first month or two, and then it came down.
You might have to wait a couple of months.
Might have to wait a couple of months. You can get these. You could get the Chronos. Like, it just addresses so many different kind of pockets. And, again, it's like that. Wouldn't it be nice if Tudor did a Daytona?
Yep.
Like their take on a chronograph. And I was like, this looks pretty similar. But it
still its own
feels
thing.
Black Bay.
Yep.
It's its own thing. It's priced well.
Yep.
It looks good. There's the gripe around the sort of sub-register and that snowflake hand being a bit too blocky, kind of eclipsing it.
The weird diving racing combo.
To be honest, screw down pushes. You're just not going to use them. You're not going to use a chronograph function. You've got an iPhone. Get over it.
Yeah, get over it.
Yeah, get over it.
And no, I don't think we're ever going to see Rolex do proper heritage watches. That's what Tudor is. I think that's what's emerging for me.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's more, Andy.
Yes, there is.
There's the Tudor Black Bays, the regular Black Bays with the non-diving bezels, with silver dials. So in 32, 41, 36, and I don't know, maybe 26? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah. These look nice.
Classy.
Yeah.
Clean.
I mean, there's not too much to say. No date. Silver, white plots with black surrounds.
Very, very contrasty.
Yeah, it's just nice. And I mean, this is a nice watch starting at...
It feels modern.
$3.5.
Very modern. Yeah.
$3.5 on leather, probably a bit cheaper for the 32, but for the 36 on leather, $3.5, 4,036 on bracelet, around that ballpark. This is a very good watch.
It's like the Tudor AP. It's just, it's stunning
ETA-based movements still, or Soleta or whatever the third-party Porsche is.
Probably ETA, yeah.
But, that's not the end of the world these days. And finally, Andy, this is your favourite. I've saved this for you. I didn't want to talk about them, but you.
I think it's worth talking about. I think the Tudor 1926 line, which got 3 new models in 41 millimeters. I think it's worth talking
Is it
about.
new dial, and they've got new leather straps across the board.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's worth a quick chat. I think that, like, why wouldn't you? And there's different sizes as well available. You've just not included.
Oh, because there's like 100 new SKUs.
Again, all right. Well, if it's what can we say? This is just a simple sort of sporty-ish dress watch. Still got that 5-year guarantee. 100-meter water resistant. Really well made. It's a simple movement. 40-hour power reserve or 38-hour power reserve, but it's simple and clean. And for the money, like, you get into one of these, even in the large size, for $2,500.
Yeah,
$3,000. Like,
and that's
great entry.
That's cheaper. That's cheaper than
a
a Black Bay. Not a Black Bay. Oh God. The Oris, whatever the Oris dive watch is called.
Yeah.
The 58, 65. It's cheaper than or about the same as like comparable Longines. It's a good first watch. I mean,
again, it's a Wayne. It'd be a first watch for a lot of people and an entry into the brand. And as you said, they can go up into a Black Bay. They can then go into a Chrono. They can go up to a solid gold.
Yeah.
Black Bay 58. Like, it is. They've covered their bases here with this year's releases.
Cool. What's your pick?
Look, I think the Panda Chrono,
nice
on bracelet, looks really cool. I mean, it looks good on all the straps. But I love the wackiness of the 18-karat gold, because it's just, you did it because you could.
Why not?
And I respect that. What about you?
Maybe they had some gold on. I always think this about
spare gold.
I legitimately always think this when I see weird things like this. I'm like, did you have some gold on your inventory sheet that you had to write off? So you just made, you like didn't want to mess with the profit and loss. So you're like, oh yeah, no, we're totally using this. No, the silver, 100% silver.
Yeah, you love that.
Yeah, I just think it's really fashionable.
Maybe we can get matching silvers.
Yeah, we're seeing them. We're seeing them next week, apparently. So I'm looking forward to
a little OT engraving on the case back.
Oof, nice.
Well, Felix, I think that's enough talk. We're gonna pick up the Watches and Wonders chat in the next episode.
I've got to run. I've got to go talk to Nomos in 5 minutes.
You've got to get back. You've got to get back to an appointment. I've got to edit this because we're publishing it in like 6-7 hours. So thank you to WatchBox for sponsoring today's episode. We'll link up their website. Of course, they do, sell a great range of Rolex and Tudor and all the other, great brands that we're going to experience during Watches and Wonders. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for, hitting us up on Instagram. OT the podcast is our gmail.com is our email. OT.podcast is our Instagram, I should say. Felix, thank you for putting this beautiful deck together.
Isn't it? Those screen grabs are so sophisticated. Thank you, Andy, for staying up late and doing all this stuff. It's very exciting, and we'll have more Watches and Wonders stuff. We'll talk about Patek. We'll talk about our personal highlights. We'll have some CEO interviews.
We've got some interviews. Yeah, heaps. Actually, we have so many. Jesus, this Watches and Wonders is going to live on through podcasts for about 2 months, guys. So we'll catch you next time.
See you later.